Hello everybody, my name is Enoch and you're watching the making of, the video series where I show you the process I took to make a game. After a little planning, I started working on the basic art asset, a bow, a balloon, and an arrow. In a new project in Unity and inputting all the assets, well, all three of them anyways, I was faced with my first problem. How do I shoot the arrow? Luckily, after some googling, I found Draki's had a tutorial on what I needed. I'll put a link in the description to the video. To keep the arrow from flying off in all directions, I created an empty game object and then added multiple 2D box colliders to keep the arrow from flying off. I would later set the bottom box collider to isTrigger, so that when the arrow would pass through it, it would count as losing an arrow. After getting the arrow to shoot, I started working on the animation for the bow, so it wouldn't look so bland. This took a bit of tweaking because I didn't properly size my bow, so I had to move it up and down a bit to make it look smooth. But after I did all that, it looked really nice. I added a little dot on top of the bow to act as an aiming implement, but I would later change this due to the fact how difficult it is to aim with the little dot. The dot also serves as a power indicator, or how powerful your shot will be depending on how far you pull the arrow back. Now that I got the bow and arrow set up, I added more balloons and added colliders to those balloons so that they would respond properly to the arrow. If you'll also notice, I got the arrow to respond after each shot. This was fairly simple to implement because after a certain amount of time, or when the arrow hit the death wall, I would set the arrow active to false, which was turning it off. I had a system detecting when the arrow would turn off, and when it did, it would set its position back to the bow and turn it back on. My next task was to create a game over and next level menu, which I used Unity's basic button and text to start with, but later I would import my own custom buttons and font. After that, I started working on a pause, well, not exactly a pause button, but a button that would allow you to restart the game or return to menu. I also implemented collision, so now when the balloons hit an arrow, or when the arrow hits a balloon to be more exact, the balloons would pop. I realized pretty early on in the project that I would want different bows that the player could be able to purchase, and to purchase stuff you would need a currency. So I added coins. Now that I had gameplay implemented, I knew I needed to pretty things up with some nice UI, which is exactly what I got it started on. I also created buttons for the main menu and created the main menu itself. Before working on more levels, I needed to create a level menu where I could access those levels. This proved to be more difficult than I thought because I had no clue how I was going to get each button to go to a specific level without doing a bunch of manual coding. I eventually settled on was adding a variable that would be the level that it's supposed to access, and then use it the entire script. All I had to do was change it per button, and that would not only let me press that button and go to the right level, but it would also change the number on the button, which would save a lot of trouble for me later on. Now came the part I was dreading, level design. I do not like designing levels. I don't know why, I just don't. I find it boring, so that's one of the reasons this game took so long to make, was because I was procrastinating instead of making levels. To keep myself interested, I started working on some improvements to the game, like a rotating bow, some more bows for the player to choose from. I even created a better looking background to make it a little less bland. I finished creating all the levels, and I was done. I was complete. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. I give you one shot. Thanks for watching. If you want to play one shot, I'll put the link in the description. Sorry Apple users, this is for Android only, currently. And well, that's it. Bye.